That's interesting because you say she cares about this guy, but at the same, under the same breath, she made a TikTok video apologizing to her boyfriend and apologizing to her fans, but it looked like a joke. Like she's smiling. She's like, she didn't look like she was taking it serious. So it didn't seem like she was remorseful for her actions. Like it just seemed like that looked like a PR stunt where it's like you go out there, you say, you do your little song and dance. And we back at it again, Far From Normal Podcast.
Gang. You already know. It's Fuzzy Vision and your boy Sonny.
Frames.
Let's get it.
And we got our lovely
Lavinia.
Yes, sir. And God damn it, we are now almost at the closing of August. I'm not even gonna say summer because
Summer wrap up.
Yeah, exactly. The summer wrap up is right in front of us. We still got 2 weeks, I would say. I mean, some people would consider the ending of summer September 21st or something of that sort.
Okay.
But technically in Toronto, once you hit that midway point, by the time you're at near the ending of August, the weather is already moving more closer to the fall. So I guess the real question is, did you utilize your summer to the best of your ability this year compared to last year? Or do you feel like there's some stuff that were unfulfilled in this summer? I'm going to start with Lavinia.
Yeah, I think I got to use quite a bit of the summer for festivals and things like that.
Okay.
I think I went to quite a few. There was some I missed out on just simply because I'm high rocks training. So
Okay.
High
Yeah,
Rocks
clap it
training.
up for that. 'Cause
There we go. There we go.
shout out for that.
Yeah,
That
so-
seemed very extreme.
Yeah.
it definitely is. So doing women's singles this October in Toronto
Okay.
should be a fun time.
That's
Yeah.
it.
So
It's the second season for it, right?
it
Coming
is.
to-
So
in Toronto.
last year they did
Yes.
it, but I don't think High Rocks had as much hype as it has right now.
Yes.
Okay.
So kind of going into it this year, it was so hard to get tickets. I know there are lots of people on the wait list. That's why they introduced Ottawa and Vancouver
Okay.
for
Nice. Didn't
December.
know that.
And May. So there's lots of more spots for people to travel
Yes,
within
okay.
Canada to compete. So I think I did. The weather wasn't as great. I feel like if it wasn't raining, it was a heat wave.
Super heat wave in
So,
Toronto.
yeah.
Always.
And then there was like the bad air quality.
Yes,
And just
the
everything.
burning. Yep.
Everything in the mix. So
Smog alert.
it was a weird summer, but I definitely feel like I utilized it to the best that I could.
Okay.
Yeah. Even going to me, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think every year is different. You don't get the same experiences from summer to summer, winter to winter, year to year. But I think the summer was, what I would expect. I think summer people sometimes like overrate it, like put it on a pedestal. Like basically that's like the peak of their year. They have it in their head. But I don't look at summer as the peak of my year. I look at it as a season of my year and, just a block. It's a nice time to get things done. Probably a nice time to meet up with friends you haven't met up with a while. Obviously, certain things come to town. Obviously, we did just have Caravana. We have a bunch of festivals happening in the city in Toronto. As you know, we've been talking about it. And pretty much the vibe is, I would say, energetic in the summer. But my thing is, I would say for my own summer personally, as long as I'm outside, as long as I, spent some time with people, like maybe going to events or something of that nature that only comes around in the summer, usually I'm good. I'm okay with it. I think I'm more concerned about traveling and things of that nature when it comes to, I guess, just the seasons. I think when summer, that's just going to happen all the time. But I think when you're in the same city, it's hard to be really excited. I think it's just you're doing similar stuff year to year. So I'm more of an advocate of leaving your city even in the summer, maybe seeing new things.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
I would say that, yeah, as you said, summer to summer is quite different. But I feel like the same events are constantly happening every year in the summer. And as you said, you prioritize trying to travel maybe at the tail end of the year, or maybe sometimes people try and travel at the beginning of the year. So when summer does come, they're not really pressed to hit every street festivities that are going on or having to be in the mix and going to event because if you're living in Toronto, most likely the same events are constantly happening year after year.
I've actually traveled a lot in summer. Surprisingly, I've went to China to see you in summer.
There we go.
I've Colombia summer, Atlanta summer.
Yeah.
So I've been a lot. Like I've been a lot of places within the summer months. So that's why I don't see summer like this big huge deal.
Yes.
I think what happens is just that there's a lot of free things going on. So
yes.
I think also the fact that you've been in winter for so long.
Yeah, and it's a dreadful winter.
Yeah.
So I sometimes I wonder if it's better to be in Canada for the winter while it's warm and then travel during the colder months, so you actually do get to experience.
Absolutely.
I guess it kind of depends on how long you're going to be traveling for in the winter months, because it could be depressing at the same time, because if you go into a hot climate and then you have to still experience the winter for the next 3-4 months, you're going to be pretty depressed, because like, God damn it, just like 3-4 months ago, or it's like, God damn it, I still got 3-4 months of this cold winter.
Absolutely.
You know
and remember
I mean?
when we went to Atlanta and we came back and it was nice, we felt great.
You feel good.
We're
You feel
like,
good. Exactly.
Same
if
outfit.
you leave and it's warm here and you come back and you miss the warmth, like there's no warmth to look forward to. You're like, okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's the part where
it's a precipitous
well,
fall.
just like you should just like leave right before it gets warm then.
Yeah,
as
that would
opposed
make
to
sense.
when
Like,
it's like
yeah.
peak heat.
Oh, okay, I see what you're
Because
saying.
then
Yes,
like,
okay,
yes,
so
I missed
you're
it
talking about like
completely.
spring-ish
Yeah,
time.
or even like the fall, leaving for the fall, or like
Okay.
for the December, January.
Yeah, that's what I'm
February
doing. About to
period.
leave in the fall and, still get that warm heat.
100%.
But it's funny because in my group chat online, I wanted to mention this because I found that to be, because speaking of the summers and events going on and festivities, I have a group chat, and basically in that group chat, they were talking about, so basically there was this meme about, a club owner and how they jacking up the prices on things, like on everything. It's like, they'll have an apple juice bottle that's halfway full, $500. Someone's gonna buy it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
They just
So
hike everything up.
up. So
They
even
wake
if-
up one day and just add a zero to every
exactly
bottle.
right. Let's make this 3 times the price of what the
that
regular,
really get them.
Yes, exactly,
like the
right.
price of water anywhere. that
Exactly,
isn't at
right?
home.
Like
Yeah.
water from $1, let's sell it for 20. It's like, how? Like, where's the mathematics here? Like, how did this? What kind of witchcraft is going
That's
on
it.
here? You know what I mean? So, the guys in my group chat were just talking about like how, man, yeah, they're always hiking up prices, and it's the same thing all the time. I don't even know why we still go to the clubs. And I'm just like, yeah, that's a good question. Because you should ask yourself that question. Because I'm like, they're not getting me.
Yeah, I
You're
mean,
not
they
going to
fooled
see
you.
me. Yeah, like they fooled you.
They fooled me for years, but
yeah,
now
but
I'm
it's like,
smart
yeah,
enough.
now I'm smarter than that,
Finally.
right? You know what I
You're
mean?
done
Like,
giving them your money.
exactly.
that's
So it's
it.
like, how many years do we have to be fooled by the same trick to understand that, it's the same trick they keep running on us. It's almost like you're a mark, and they keep running that
course.
same trap every single time. As you know it's a trap. But
That's
you
it.
still keep going back to the same trap. So it's kind of like, why don't you just throw a house party if you want to party so bad? Like, you'd save so much more money.
You have to tidy up
and-
after.
Huh?
You have to tidy up after the house party.
No, okay, a hall. You could get a
Okay,
hall,
true.
get your guys together, get a hall. You could get a lot cheaper drinks, right? Get people that make it more inclusive, and then have your fun, and then call it a day. Why go to the club, wait in line? Like, there's so many things that are irritating to a club. You start off with getting in line. That line might be a hectic line. So now you're waiting in line. We're not even talking about the climate. It could be possibly raining.
You gotta have
Now-
grease in your grease in your pockets for the bouncer,
Right,
if you wanna
right.
get
So
in.
you have to grease the bouncers, right? And it just depends on how much you're greasing, how much
Because
you're
buying
greasing
a
them.
ticket isn't enough to get you in.
Exactly.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Buying the ticket that's not gonna get you in. They're at the bouncers are looking at, okay, are you greasing my palms, or because I don't
We
care
just
about your
talking,
ticket,
man.
because the door guy is worried about if he's getting paid.
yes.
It's
He's
not
not worried
about
about
you
the
buying the
you-
ticket.
yeah.
That has to deal with the whoever set up the event, but they're
Yeah.
inside.
and they're not making no
They-
money off the door
Yeah,
from that.
yeah, exactly. So now you have to take care of the door guy. Like, okay, I'll grease his hands so I can get
Absolutely.
inside. Or you wait in line for an hour just to find out you're not getting in. That's like, wow, like
Classic.
that's
I've been
crazy.
there, done
You
that.
know what I mean?
Classic.
a lot of people have been there, done that. You know what I mean? And you come to realize that, you know, there's different levels to the game where, especially when you got guys at the door security for guys, for people that are trying to go into clubs around the city. If you're not paying the door guy,
Yeah.
most likely, if it's a crazy line, you're not getting in.
Okay, so I know this is an issue mainly for men, but how about
Yes.
for women? What do you think when it comes to
What's the
clubs,
main
club
issue?
culture for women? How
Yeah.
how would you describe that? Like, because men typically have to have it in their head that they're gonna spend a lot of money,
sure.
right? Especially if it's like a nice club. We're talking about, you know, clubs that have boots, bottle service, those type of things. And guys going out, if they go with a group of friends, they're thinking to get a booth, right? The bigger the group, you need a place to house everyone, right? So men are thinking when they go to the club, it's like an event, like they're gonna have to spend a lot of money.
For sure.
I know on the flip side for women, it's very much
It's very
different,
different, yeah.
because women go to enjoy themselves, where men go to spend it. So women go to enjoy themselves, and how does that look when you go to a club? Like, and I understand that not all women are equal. So I understand that some women can get in for free with
For
their
sure.
friends and get set up nicely, where other women, and maybe that's due to their attraction level or who they know, could be both,
For sure.
they don't get the same privileges. So have you seen both sides of that?
I think from what I do, it's been a while since I've been out to the club and sometimes. So
Okay.
I think I remember when I used to go, I treat going out, and my friends and I always say this, like, as a date, in terms of like, you need your own money and you need a way home. Like, that's all you need to figure out.
Yeah.
I think the nights are usually quite good for women. I know sometimes, depending on how you look, like even the bartender gives you free drinks. I know, like, the guys mixing drinks, like, you could go up to like buy a shot and he's like, it's okay, like these shots are on me. And like, you
Okay.
know, guys, like, you could say hi to a guy if you're nice to him.
And then
He'll
they
buy
can
you
get your drink.
drinks, and
Yeah, of
it's just
course.
like, you're mostly just, I don't even, sometimes women say they leave the club with more money than they went with, or they didn't even have to spend any money when they
Of
were there.
course.
So it's like, I think it's really highly dependent on how nice you are to guys and to how you look. So I don't even think you have to look the best, but if you know how to talk to guys, you will still get drinks for free.
Okay, but
So-
but let's look in the scenario of the line waiting thing we're talking about. As a woman, do you see yourself waiting in line for a club?
Have I seen myself waiting in line for
Like,
a club?
yeah,
Or
like,
do I?
would you be interested? It's hard to say. Like, I'm saying
think
hypothetically, like with
hypothetically
women,
speaking,
with
yeah.
friends, like, are you the type to be like, yeah, let's wait in
Let's
the
wait in
line,
line.
or
I
are
think
we
last
like we're
summer,
over that? Like,
For sure, yeah. Last summer, I know I did wait in line for like a whole bunch of like day parties, just because I was
Okay.
really keen on going to a couple of them and seeing what they're on about, and just like even night ones as well. I did wait in line for some of them, but I've never been in a situation where it's been like, you're not coming in. I've never seen that before. I think even for guys, your odds are better when you're with women.
absolutely.
So it's like, I know when we used to go out with a couple of our guy friends, they were like, one of you needs to come out tonight because we're not getting in if there
Yeah.
isn't at least one of you
Yeah,
there.
Of course.
So I have waited in line. To what extent? It's never been longer than like 30 minutes.
Okay.
I don't think I could do longer than 30 minutes, because then you start to figure out, like, is this worth
Is
it?
it
Because
worth it?
Yes.
you might just get inside and realize it's dead. The
Yeah.
music
That's
isn't
the
great.
worst thing
like,
that could
Nothing
happen.
we
worse.
waited in line, and just like, I remember there was a night out. My friends and I went out. We thought it was going to be a great time. Turned out to be like an apartment. An apartment style type of situation. I wondered if it might have even been apartment 200,
Okay.
something like
Okay.
that. Yeah, it was very small. It was hot. It felt like there was no like AC going on.
Might have been
So
there.
everybody was like in the corners where the fans were.
Oh my god.
And I think we lasted about an hour, and we're
And
like,
that was it.
we're gonna go home. And just luckily enough, we bumped into like some famous people outside that people would see on Netflix shows, and we're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
okay, this was worth it,
That's
you know. And
insane.
then you went home at like maybe 12, 1, but it's like you start to think about it, and you're like, I could have just gone to bed that night, as opposed to being outside and having waited in line for a club.
Okay.
But what's the longest you guys have waited to go in?
Ooh, that's a
before?
lot. Well, I'll say this much. I think for me and my brother, I think, see, at a young age, we had friends that were like heavily connected to the clubs. So we already realized that waiting in line, like I think the last time we really waited in line was in high school.
Really?
Yeah,
Like a big
because
line,
in a big
like
line.
in that sense. Like I've waited, obviously. I've went out more than you
Yeah.
in the city. So because you left the city
Yeah.
in terms of, a couple years ago. And I've had to wait in lines and they've been on certain days. Like my birthday, I remember I had to wait in the line for a club and that was a terrible experience. I had a hotel, I had everything set up.
Yeah.
But just waiting in the line. And then when we got in, it was shit. Like it wasn't even,
Yeah.
and I think I came with a group of people, but not everyone wanted to do that wait. So it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
all right, some
That's-
people
is
want to
that
kind of
too?
go other
Mhm.
places. And there's misty rain happening.
Yeah.
So
So that's
How
what I'm
do you-
saying. The
Yeah,
climate,
it
the
doesn't
climate
really
plays
help.
a huge.
the
How do
climate
you feel
definitely.
about your friends coming to your birthday and not necessarily wanting to do something you want to do?
I don't know. Like for me as a guy, I think I've been, how I operated or maybe operate to this point is that when it comes to stuff of that nature, I don't take it personally. I actually really don't care so much. I don't put so much stock in those type of things, like
Okay.
whether someone wants to do something different or they want to do it for me. I guess I'll just know for next time who to bring. Like I'll
True.
realize that lesson there. But realistically, those things don't affect me at the time. I don't think as men, I think men don't feel emotionally connected like that unless it's like a close friend.
Yeah.
And then he wants to go do his own thing, then you're gonna feel disrespected to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you think about that. Like if you went to go do something and say you went to the gun range and one of your boys didn't want to do that.
Well, first I'll answer that question about the line situation. I think you're right. Like I did leave the country for a little while. I think at the time when we did go out to places, because we knew people that were connected within the club world,
Yeah,
it made our experience so much better
1,000%.
because we
You
started
think so?
realizing
Yeah,
that
'cause
you didn't have to necessarily wait in line.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, to actually enjoy yourself. So I think after that, and then I left the country, then I came back to the country. And when I did come back to the country, again, I was still connected with other guys that knew like promoters, that knew the bouncers and stuff like that because they were in that industry. There was one summer that I was just going to get reacquainted with, okay, what's the clubs that are popping and what's going on and, you know, how much fun are these clubs really? You know what I mean? So me going to those clubs again, you know, skipping the line and doing the line bypass and going through and then seeing it, I'm like, there's nothing really here that's worth me wanting to stay here. So I'm just like, I got to go through the experience, but I'm like, I don't think it's worth it to want to stay in line to get into this club because even though I was able to get in, I didn't think it was worth it even when I was in.
Yeah.
Even for free, yeah, that's what we've realized. And we've been in so much situations where we've been to like nice clubs for free and just skipped the line, you know, shook a couple hands and that's it. You're in the
That's
club,
it,
right?
Yeah.
We've been in that situation so much times and we weren't like super excited over that neither.
Yeah.
So,
Let alone standing in line, right?
Yeah. I think a big thing too is that like I didn't grow up here.
yeah.
So a lot of the clubbing I did was back in Africa.
Yeah.
And we were staying up to like 5, 6 a.m. So it's such a shift in culture because you could actually go to bed, wake up, and people are like, oh, I'm just leaving the house. Like,
Damn.
I remember yesterday I took a nap at 7 and woke up at 10:30. And it's like 10:30 p.m. You could still text people and they'll be like, yeah, we're just getting drinks.
just
So like
getting
take a shower. You can still meet us.
You can
and
still
we'll head
meet
out.
us.
But I think the nights also start a little bit earlier here. So you have to
Okay.
start thinking about things sooner because you don't stay up that late.
That's
So that's
right.
another situation too. So I think moving here and experiencing the clubbing culture wasn't exactly the same as what I was used to. So I wasn't even too keen. Because I also went to uni in Waterloo, so that was a different.
Yeah,
culture
Waterloo would be
going
very
out there,
different.
yeah.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
mean, the most we would have like little events, like when we were younger, that would cater to that, like go finish at 5 in the morning. But it'll be an event. It won't be like a continuation of, you know, party after party, like
Yeah.
5 a.m. It'll be like, okay, this club event is gonna go up until 5 a.m. So by the time you get home, it's like 7, and you're just
Yeah.
going to sleep. So I went to a couple of those when I
Yeah.
was a bit younger. But anyways, let's get to what we actually wanted to talk about
100%,
now.
let's do it.
And Sha'Carri Richardson.
The Carrie.
What have you guys heard about her? Because she's been buzzing online right now.
The American track star.
Oh yeah, American track star.
Olympian. What'd
She
she
won
win?
gold medal.
She won gold.
Yeah, in the
In
Olympics.
the 100.
So that's why she's still relevant.
Very controversial figure,
Yes.
obviously, as we know, but she did prove it when she win gold. Are we
She
sure?
did win. Yeah, she did win
did.
gold.
Yeah.
Or was
In
that
the
100?
in relay.
In relay,
Yeah.
not in the 100.
Not in the 100.
Yeah, that's what.
I think she did in the 100, not the 200.
Okay.
Yes, she won in the
Yeah, in the
100 and
100.
she won in the relay, but she
Not
lost
the
in the
two-
200.
In the 200.
Because I think the
okay.
200 was
Yes,
Gabby, right? Was it Gabby?
Gabby, I think.
Yeah,
beat
Gabby
her.
won it, yeah.
Yes, I think she won.
No, she
gold.
didn't win it at the 100. Remember the St. Lucian woman beat her?
That was the 200, wasn't it?
No, that was Gabby that
This
beat her.
guy's right.
Oh,
to St.
yeah.
Lucian
Yeah,
woman.
yeah. She
Yes.
only won in the
She's
relay.
the only one in the
Oh,
relay. She won the
wow.
gold,
Yeah.
first gold for the country.
First
okay,
gold,
true.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's been in a little bit of hot water, you can say. Well, there's a video that came out where I guess she assaulted or she's in an argument with her boyfriend, and I don't know who called the authorities. Maybe and then she got physical with him. So someone had called the authorities, and pretty much the video is showing the police arresting her.
I think it was at the airport, wasn't it?
This is at an airport.
Yeah.
So the police come and they're not asking whether she had been assaulting. If she said they were arguing and her boyfriend and girlfriend, she's trying to, pretty much say that they're in a relationship. So assault, it shouldn't be counted as assault. But obviously the cops are saying it's not up to her to determine that.
It's
what they
probably,
seen.
Yeah, what people saw.
Well, not even
It's what's
that.
being
No, on the
reported.
camera. No, I don't know if you've seen the camera footage.
No, I didn't see
Oh,
that.
see, that's the thing. You guys
Okay.
never seen what actually happened. So what's happening is the assault. What they're talking about is she's shoving him.
Oh, against like the pole, right?
Like, yeah,
Or
she's
something?
shoving him
Yeah.
against the pole continuously. Like he's trying to avoid her. She's shoving him, trying to avoid him, shoving him. Takes his headphones, throws it off his head.
I think she throws it at him or something.
Oh,
like that, yeah.
I think she took it. It was like hers.
I think it was in
Really?
his backpack as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Something
So
like that, yeah.
this is why she got assault because, and then she's pushing him. She keeps shoving him. I'm not sure if she mushed him, but like she.
The disrespect keeps going.
Yeah, the disrespect was
Off the charts?
it was off the charts because he wasn't doing anything
in the video.
in the video. No, he's just walking away. It's like
Wow.
Oh, like he's not retaliating.
He's not retaliating.
He's
Oh,
just
okay.
taking.
she
what
just
is-
keeps coming at him,
Okay.
right? Like he's just trying to walk away, and she just keeps. So it's almost like you're egging the man on
to do
to
something.
do something, but he kept his composure and he didn't do anything. So
Kudos to him. Kudos to him.
yeah. So I think they reviewed the tape,
Yeah.
and because he never pressed charges on
Yeah,
her.
he actually said that.
Yeah.
he
Yeah, of
felt like it was
course.
escalated.
Yes.
her being
Yeah.
arrested.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course he wouldn't press charges.
Yes, yeah. So
But
that
I
was-
thought the cop was saying that it wasn't up to him to press the charges.
which
I think
is kind of
especially because-
insane, which doesn't really make too much
I
sense.
think it's
when
because it
assault-
happened at the airport too.
'Cause, yeah,
like, I
when
think it's a
assault
completely different
happens-
situation. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, like when assault happens, I mean, like if I spank my girlfriend and someone sees me do it, like I'm still liable to get charged for assault.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter whether I know them or it's just like if a parent, hits their kid in certain instances, they can get into trouble with the law, right? Like depending on who's seen it and what the aggression was. And I think in that case, like what I don't understand is when you're a celebrity, especially, don't you realize that anything you do is in a microscope? Like the fact that she was in a public airport assaulting her boyfriend, to think that's not going to be looked at as assault is crazy to me.
Well, you have to understand, people act with emotions. They're not thinking about how many cameras are in
But
the
are
airport
you
that
sure
can
about
catch
that?
you.
Because-
I believe your response is an emotional
Yeah,
response.
but you have to understand you're responsible for your actions, right? And we all know, like most people, for example, let's not go with most, but I'll say this much: people follow rules to like people typically are law abiding more than not law abiding, like for your general laws, right? Like basic stuff, like because you don't want to get into trouble with the law, so you're careful. You don't do certain things. For example, if I'm at work and my emotions overwhelm me, I'm still not gonna curse out my boss. That's something I would know, regardless how emotional I am. I'm probably not gonna go there if I'm thinking logically.
Yeah.
Of course, there's instances where people blow up, but then that's more on you not being able to control your emotions. So her assaulting him in that public situation, I understand what you're saying. She's out of control. That's really what it
Crashing
comes down
out.
to.
That's
I
what
think
it
it
was.
also comes down to just environments, because sometimes people grow up in
Yeah.
certain like
Okay.
cultures that don't necessarily I guess emphasize certain things, like how you act in public, as that being like a big thing. You know, I think sometimes when people do things, especially like acting out of emotion, and in I think I was talking to Sani about this. I was saying, when you're a celebrity, like you're saying,
Yep.
you need to understand that you can't do what we do as average people.
That's what I'm saying. You can't have
Because-
those basic stuff happening.
But I don't think she really realizes that. And I'm saying it's such a shame, because lots of people are looking up to her, especially like younger, especially like African American girls. And so to see somebody acting that way is kind of setting the tone. It's like, okay, yeah, I can do that too. And it's actually like, no, we shouldn't be acting that way, you know? And even with that in mind, it's just like, yes, you're really fast, but it's like you could still lose partnerships. Obviously, she didn't, because Nike still endorsed her in an ad for something, which a lot of people
for shoe.
Yeah, and people complained about that because they said it was double standards.
I was gonna ask you about the standards.
So they kind of talked about that, but it's just like you could so easily lose it all because you can't contain yourself, which is a big thing that I don't think people really consider when they step into that. I think that's why they do media training. But like, you know
that's
how
what
like
I'm
the
saying.
Kardashians and
Yes.
everything sit down and they do media training because they're like, you have to watch the way that you act in public. But I don't think everybody thinks about that, you
or
know?
everyone has that, takes it serious.
Because I kind of equated to like, you know, when football players go into the NFL and they start teaching them about finances because they could so easily spend it all.
Yeah,
Like, I think it's the
course.
same thing with athletes, like coming into these spaces. I
That's
think
right, how
media
to behave.
training and all that stuff.
But I do believe she's been trained on those type of things.
Yeah.
I do believe these people are trained within how to deal with, relationships.
100%.
Because even with the men, like, you think they don't tell them, they already know like stuff like domestic violence and that
Yeah.
shit
Those
goes
things
on.
are huge.
They know all those things go on
Yeah.
because they've already seen it before. So they're gonna say, okay, if you're in a situation, this is what you do. If
But I
you're in
also,
this-
like, I think, just like off Sonny's point too, like, I think when you're in love, like, it's so hard to be able to control how you react, because only certain type of people can evoke a certain type of emotion out of you. Like, I'm pretty sure if like a random person was to say something to you,
Yeah.
it wouldn't evoke the same thing as if like your brother said something to you, or if your parents said something to you, because it's a different type of relationship. So I
Okay.
think where she's coming from is probably like, this is somebody I care about, and because I did, like, it just hit a different point. You know?
See, that's interesting because you say she cares about this guy, but at the same, under the same breath, she made a TikTok video apologizing to her boyfriend and apologizing to her fans, but it looked like a joke. Like, she's smiling. She's like, she didn't look like she was taking it serious. So it didn't seem like she was remorseful for her actions. Like, it just seemed like that looked like a PR stunt, where it's like you go out there, you say, you do your little song and dance, and then at the end of the day, you still go back to who you are, because I think that's just her nature. Like, internal nature that's who she is.
But
right?
I
She came
get-
from that type of environment.
I guess the important question here, because what you mentioned is love, right? And you said, like, sometimes when you're in love, it invokes a stronger emotion. But I have to ask that, I have to question that part, because now if we incorporate this love aspect that you threw into there, where do we draw the line when it comes to assault?
No, I think assault is assault either way. I do believe that nobody should be hitting or shoving anybody, like, regardless of the context. I don't think it should be done. So, like, for her to have done that, especially in that setting, it's really unfortunate. You know, I'm not saying it's fine that she does it at home, but it's like, you need to really watch yourself when, regardless, like, I'm not like, yes, okay, her being a celebrity is one thing because eyes are on her. But I think just in general, people shouldn't be doing that. So it's like, I'm not going to justify it by saying it's because she's in love. But it's like, sometimes you can see how maybe she wouldn't do that on a day-to-day basis. So for us to draw a conclusion on that one instance would be like to say, oh, because you got into one accident, you're a horrible driver. You
Well,
know?
if you cheated, you'd be considered a cheater.
True.
Doesn't matter how many times you cheated.
Okay. Yeah,
The
that is a fair
reputation
point.
remains
It remains the same. Yeah,
So
I
the,
think
the small dosage, this is how people judge people,
true.
right?
It
if you're a
is
criminal and you did a crime, they consider you a
yeah,
criminal now. They
for
don't
sure.
consider you,
Doesn't
oh,
matter
you
how
just
big the
did
crime
one
is.
crime.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying, like, it's really unfortunate that this is how it turned out because it is now what we see. We can't go back and say, oh, we're gonna delete this. Like, as much as we might never find that. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say
Go ahead.
I don't think people will still associate her with the domestic violence. I think her track running ability will still override that.
I think this
that
is a
idea.
small issue.
It's a very small issue because it's something that typically happens in relationships. So I don't think they're gonna blow that out of proportion.
Especially
but
if she wins a gold.
Yes,
Well, they
and-
never.
but
I'll be honest. In this scenario, it's because it was a woman assaulting a man.
Yes,
if it's a
but-
man assaulting a woman, even if it's that, just switch it. Just the video you said, just switch it. Make it a man.
Oh
doing
no,
that
it would
to
be a
woman.
big deal. No, but what I
That'd
was
be
gonna say,
pretty
so
much a career ender.
Exactly. So I was gonna speak on that.
Okay.
Exactly what you were saying. Now, my thing is, at what point do we look at a woman and ask, do you self-evaluate? Do you take accountability? When does that happen? When do we get to make sure a woman's taking accountability of her actions and making sure she's doing her self-evaluation, and when she goes out into the world, she could behave in a civilized manner?
I think civilized also just very subjective.
Civilized,
I'm just
civilized in
I'm
the
just
sense
playing
of
devil's advocate.
well, no, what I'm saying civilized
Yeah.
in the sense of domestic violence, like
Okay.
in terms of keeping your hands
Yeah,
to yourself,
how to behave in public.
how to behave in public.
I think a lot of things start at home. That's what I would say. You know, because if your parents emphasize certain things and keep instilling those certain things in you, you're not likely to act out of character. And if you do, you will take accountability for those things because you feel bad and you feel guilty.
Yeah.
So as long as you have that association between the action and feeling guilty or feeling some type of remorse towards it, then I think people will take accountability, you know? I know we do have a baseline that would be our societal standard in terms of like things you
Pretty
should
much.
and
Which is
shouldn't
what
do.
I'm talking about.
But I think if that's not your household standard, like if you weren't at home and your parents were like, you can't yell at people, you can't hit people. Because I remember when I used to babysit, like there are kids whose parents will emphasize you can't hit, and there are kids whose parents will say, oh, they're just a kid. So they'll keep hitting.
Yes.
So it's like if certain things are not emphasized at home, it's not going to be a norm for you.
Okay,
You
but
just find out the hard way, i.e. she got arrested. So it's like that's how you find out if like certain things aren't taught to you at home, you know?
so this is what I would say to that. I would say that you don't choose your parents, but when you get to a certain age and you become an adult, it's your responsibility to change whatever bad habits your parents may have taught you growing up. It's up to you to readjust and correct those type of behaviors or maybe even eating habits. Like women, like some kids, they come from a family that have a really bad diet, right? And they get really overweight. But once you get to a certain age, it's your responsibility now to take care of yourself as an adult and make the adjustments necessary so you can have the proper diet, proper nutrition to have a longer lasting life.
Yeah. I just think it's if you get exposed to the opportunity to do that. Because like let's say you did grow up in an environment that just had junk food
Yes.
and you still couldn't afford to move to a better like place that showed you that there was better than junk food, or you couldn't afford more than junk food, you're still going to stay the same. So it's the same with like if you don't see any different than what it is that you grew up seeing, you're going to stay the same.
But we have social media.
But that's
We got a
not
lot of
like
stuff that can basically
Change
I think
it
I think
or
it's
can
so
work or
hard to
change.
change if you're not in an environment that allows that change to happen. Because like as much as you want to be like, imagine you're an alcoholic and you're trying to change, but like all that's around you is alcohol. It's like it's so hard to make that adjustment. You could try to move environments, but if you can't afford to move environments or just do anything that puts you out of that situation, then you won't be able to.
So wait, when you say all around you is going to be alcohol, in what scenario are we speaking of exactly that all around him would be alcohol?
Okay, so we'll go back to the Shakira situation, right?
Yeah.
So imagine she lives in a community where people are doing this, right?
Okay.
She's never moved out of that community because like that's where she grew up. And a lot of people like stay where they grow up. And it's like because she's never seen any different, she hasn't moved out of that environment. Like, how would she know any better? Like, yes, she can see people doing different things, but it's like that message is constantly being reinforced by what she sees around her.
So is it not her choice with the money that she's making to move to a different environment
in
in which
community, right? This is her community.
Yeah, she's just saying these are people she grew up with.
Yeah,
these
so
are
it's
people
like-
she's around. Regardless if
like-
she goes up in life, those
Because-
same people
will
be
come with
Because it's like
her.
you
Okay.
could make
environment.
so much money, but like if you like the community you grew up in, you're
Yes.
comfortable in that community, you're not necessarily going to move.
You're right.
You know, like this is all you know. So
Yes.
it's like you're going to do that because like okay, she moves to a better neighborhood, like a rich neighborhood. She's going to feel out of place. And you're gonna be like, oh, you know what? I was more comfortable where I was before. Like I had my people
Yeah,
around
that's
me. I had
right.
people who looked like me, people who spoke like me. I just knew the area, so it's a lot better for me.
Okay,
you know?
so when she does do her track meets, right?
Mm-hmm.
She goes to like these different countries, Budapest and stuff of that sort. She's out of her comfort zone. She is
But that's
no
temporarily.
longer in America, and she goes. Yeah, I guess you're right in that sense.
And I don't even think athletes interact with each other like that.
No, they're probably
so
sticking to like
they're
their own
probably
American,
sticking to their
their
people.
American
So it's like
stuff and
they might go
language-wise.
outside, have
Yeah.
lunch, have dinner, but they're not thinking,
not
oh,
immersing
what are they
themselves.
doing?
Okay,
You know,
true.
this is
Yeah.
not that type
It's
of
not.
situation.
They're not immersing themselves in the culture. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
also think like Americans believe that they're the best too. So I think sometimes like even though you take them out of that environment, they might not necessarily think, oh, maybe I should assimilate.
Okay.
Because you always see videos where they say, oh, how can you tell that it's an American in Europe? It's the way that they're dressed. It's the way that they
Yeah,
speak.
it's how
It's
they
like
talk.
they're not assimilating to the environment that they
No, they
they
keep
travel
going.
to.
So you're saying that based off the environment that she's in, there's no reason for her to self-evaluate because what is there to self-evaluate when everything around her is promoting a certain
and it's
type of lifestyle?
confirming exactly
and
who she
confirming
is.
it. Okay.
It's like looking around and saying, oh, everybody's like me, so why do I need to change?
Mm.
But it's like when you stick out, you're thinking, maybe I should do what everybody else is doing.
Mm.
It's like coming to a community full of really fit people and you're unfit. You're like, maybe I should start going on
Yeah,
a run. Maybe I
it'll rub
should
off.
start lifting weights. It's like that changes the way that you think. But if you're not in those environments, it's and you know, I think the other thing is too, like,
It's kind of strange because I feel like when you get to that level of any professional field, especially in that field, you now have to change your circle because the numbers are changing, the money,
100%.
the
Yeah.
That's
environment's
it's-
changing. It has to change.
like-
It cannot remain the same.
but
like
would
you-
it,
it's
would
like
it
almost-
change her though? Do you know
No,
what
but
I
what
mean?
I'm saying, it's like you being in grade 1.
Yeah,
It's like
it's like-
you gotta go to grade 2, gotta go to grade 3. Like
Yeah, there
you
has
can't
to be a
just sit
point
in
of-
grade
of,
1.
yeah,
Like that's not
movement.
how it works. Life doesn't
But it's
work
like, okay,
that.
like let's say you end up being like, okay, an athlete who has poor financial management when they didn't really have money. Now that they're rich, are they gonna have better financial management?
That's why you get a personal
No.
financial advisor.
But a lot of the time they don't. They
Okay,
end up just
I'll-
spending their money on big houses and cars. So it's like it doesn't really change the
I'll say this
situation.
much. I'll say let's take it off Shakari, and we'll just put it generally speaking of taking accountability.
Okay.
And when it comes to taking accountability, and the woman's side, because this is a conversation that doesn't happen that much, and especially when we talk about accountability and the woman's side of it. Now, everyone comes from a certain environment, whether it's a male or female. We all come from different environments. We all have different obstacles. We all have different ways of life. So men always have to be accountable for themselves, especially when it comes to dating. They have to be accountable, obviously, to a certain extent of their finances, where they're at in life, career, et cetera, if they want what they want in the dating field, right? They understand that. And they have to be accountable of how they act towards women when they go on a date. They can't say certain things because that may be, considered offensive. They have to be intentional in what they say and what they do in order to pursue a woman. So when it comes to women and just accountability, whether it's shortcomings, bad attitudes, narcissism, how do you think women self-evaluate or reevaluate and see the flaws that they have? How do you think women go about that in this day and age?
That is a good question. I think a lot of the time people do self-evaluate, especially women, but I don't necessarily feel like they'll do it around men. Like I think you usually do it around your friends where you kind of talk about certain things, you know? And I think that also comes down to the type of people you're friends with. You know, sometimes you might act a certain type of way and then your friends confirm that it's okay that you acted that way because it was a valid situation. And sometimes they could check you too and be like, you know, that wasn't an appropriate way to have reacted to something, you know? So
Before you get past that, would you say that women agree to your behavior most? Like, would you say women are more agreeable than disagreeable when giving advice
by their friends or just in general?
by their friends?
I think, are they agreeable? Like, do they take advice well? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
I think in certain situations they do.
Bad advice.
Bad advice? I think it depends on what you call bad advice.
I'm under the impression women do not give other women. Well, this is what I'll say. Not bad advice. Sorry, I phrased that wrong. Criticism. Do you criticize other women or do you try to? Because I don't believe women are honest in that sense when it comes to
Like honest with each other?
accountability. Well, accountability for certain things. I don't think they have the same system set in place that men have in terms of checking guys and another man saying, hey, look, listen, and checking a guy and being honest about that. I think women protect the emotional side of things when it comes to dealing with their friend because they're worried about maintaining the friendship rather than being honest. That's going to get you pissed off.
I think that it's true to an extent because I do believe that we take things to heart a little bit more than men do sometimes, especially when it comes down to criticism, regardless of whether it's positive criticism or negative criticism. I think it's always difficult to hear. I think especially I even speak for myself, like it's definitely difficult to hear, especially if you feel like you've been doing things right, you've been really putting your best foot forward, and to hear like things about that is definitely difficult. But I think that also just comes with, I don't necessarily know if we hear it often enough growing up too, as like a girl child. Like I don't think we're hearing our parents criticize certain things as often as men would hear it. I think because you were brought up as a breadwinner, so you have to be tough. You're used to hearing rejections. You're used to hearing so many different things that we're not exposed to. So I think building up the resiliency to hear those things, it's not as high as it is for men. So I don't think it's that we do not want to give that criticism. Sometimes I don't think people are in a good position to hear it. You know?
That's
so
very
I'll say that
interesting.
because I think for myself too, like sometimes I'm just like, I will not ask for opinions if I'm not ready to hear that opinion.
Yeah,
because
you don't want
it
the
might
real
just
truth, maybe.
exactly, it might just hurt a little bit more. But I think when I'm ready to hear it, are you ever really ready to hear the truth as well? That's another
Of course,
thing.
yes, absolutely.
So, and I think men will tell you the truth either way. Like it's with each other.
Yes.
Like there's always like that. They call it like unsolicited opinion. It's
Well,
like,
someone has to tell you the truth. Someone has to pull the rug from under your feet so you realize what's under there.
but I don't think the rug's ever pulled from underneath our feet as women. So,
That's
and I don't know.
interesting.
Yeah, I think because I'm just thinking for myself. Sometimes it even, like you're saying, it just ends up breaking up friendships
That's what I mean.
if you are honest. Because I feel like the times we have been honest with people is when there's been the most tension. Unless like I think I have some friends that I'm really good friends with where it's like we can actually be like, hey, that thing that wasn't cool, and they'll be like, can you just like explain it to me? Because like if I did that thing, I probably wasn't thinking that thing was wrong. So when you explain it from a different perspective, they can understand. But it's like I think their personality has to allow for that as well, you know?
So I find that interesting because if criticism is such a big deal for women to accept and to hear, how would women go about dating now? Because if a woman or one of their friends think a specific man is not good for them, right? And they're trying to save their friend. But at the same time, you don't want to criticize a guy and say, oh yeah, I don't think this guy is for you. And you may have another guy that would be more suited for your friend. How would a woman go about that?
And you know, that's really tough because you often hear like, I remember like a couple of years ago when I dated somebody, one of my friends was like, oh, you know, I really want to tell you that he wasn't the right person, but I don't know if you would have taken it well because of how deep into it you were. Like, it was just like, if I told you, it might have just come across as I'm a hater. And like, I
Yes.
didn't want to be that person.
But if you're
you
friends
know?
with her, why would it come across that way?
That's a good
I
question.
think sometimes like you don't really realize, sometimes when you're in relationships with people, you have these like, I think of them rose-colored glasses. Like you just can't see anything wrong with a person. So it's like even if you're struggling, like you could be going through like the worst patch with somebody, you might not necessarily be able to see it, but everybody else around you can, you know? And so it's like even if they came to you and said, hey, like, you know, they said something really horrific to you and they shouldn't have said that, you'd be like, oh, but he was just having a bad day. And it's like actually nobody, regardless of the day that they're having, should have said that thing to you. So it's like it's really tough sometimes when somebody's deep into something to bring them out of it to see from a different perspective. So
Yeah, okay.
I think it's so difficult, not even just for like women. Like I think sometimes for men too, like they might be in a really toxic relationship and you're trying to tell the guy like she's not for you, but like they're still staying, they're still going back.
That's happening all the time as well. Men, I actually seen a topic about this, and it was talking about, men were asking why it's so difficult for men to like end relationships compared to women, and it's kind of paradoxical when I think of a woman's mentality when it comes to the truth with their friends and when it comes to the truth with relationships. It's very different. And same thing vice versa with men, right? When it's a relationship truth and a friendship truth. So women won't be truthful with their fellow friend. They'll maybe beat around the bush, not quite criticize them, but maybe just try and give advice, but in small doses, not really the whole shebang at once, right? But then when it comes to, say, a relationship, they're not, say, they're happy with, a lot of women will just be honest, like off the bat, right? Like they'll just be like, I'm not feeling this, like, you know, this, depending on how long the relationship has been, obviously. But if they're not feeling it, they're way easier to get out. Now, a guy, he can be honest with his friends, like he can tell the truth about whatever the situation is. He can kind of hear that harsh truth and whatever. But when it comes to a relationship and him trying to get out of a relationship, that's when he finds the truth hard to say, like to deal with exiting a relationship because now he's feeling guilt and all that stuff. But why do you think, because women always harp about the truth, I want the truth, even if it hurts, like when in relationships. But why is it that in relationships you want the truth, but it's your own friends, it's like you don't want the truth?
Do you mean like friends in terms of like them telling you about your relationship or just like...
No, telling you about the truth in general.
In general, just about like whatever like that they feel you're doing wrong or a criticism about what's going on or what they seen or whatever the case may be, like your lifestyle, certain things maybe you might have to change.
I think it's just like differences in terms of who the person is. Like I think that's just what it comes down to. Like I think who's telling you the truth changes the way that you take things sometimes, you know? Also, I just think, I always say this, like I think how you say things really matters. So how timing the whole works. Like I think that's like, I think it's like an art in communication. That's the biggest thing that I'll say. Because I know for me, just speaking personally for myself, I know when it comes to somebody telling me the truth, regardless of who you are, like I think timing matters the most. Like I know some people are like, oh, does that mean I should just sit on the truth for a really long time until I find the perfect time to tell you? I don't know, but I can just say that I do think that if somebody was to tell me that about something like I've done in like whatever way, like I would want them to, number one, tell me in a nice way and not be like, hey, like, you know, really getting in you about it. And just like, I think the way that when you talk about it too, you know,
delivery of the truth, how it
exactly,
comes across.
because like if I had a problem with you, I would come to you like one-on-one and say, hey, like, you know,
of course,
I'd be like, oh, do you want to like go get lunch? And like while we're at lunch, you know, I'll just be like, hey, like, you know, this thing's been on my mind. I just want to tell you about it. As opposed to we're in a group of friends and you're like, okay, now I'm going to tell you about like everything you've
No, I don't
done,
think
you know?
anybody really likes to be criticized in front of a lot of people.
Public criticism.
Public criticism is frowned upon on any situation. I think for men as well. I think
Yeah.
because men have pride, right?
For
Yeah.
sure.
So they wouldn't want to be publicly criticized about certain actions
Mm-hmm.
that they're doing. Just like a woman wouldn't want to be publicly criticized on what they're doing. They would want their friend to pull them aside or find a better time where it's like just one-on-one.
Yeah.
But even that, they may not just want the criticism, period.
Yeah.
So they might look into
Mhm.
that
Do you find that like receiving criticism for yourselves, you take it well?
I mean, I don't know. I
From
gotta ask
everybody?
my brother. How do you think I take criticism? And we are gonna be wrapping
Yeah,
up soon.
it's interesting when you're saying that. How you take criticism. I think for you, you just absorb it. I think you're not a guy to argue criticism. You just listen to the criticism. I think you're a guy, you just internalize criticism. You just you keep it in your head and then you try and work on those things. I think that's the main thing with you. And then you understand, okay, I might be deficient here, but that doesn't mean I need to neglect it because, I'm not as good in this certain sector than another one. I think you double down when someone tells you criticism on certain things. I think not double down as in you don't care about it, but I think you put more into trying to correct, whatever the criticism is. But I think you don't care so much about criticism if it comes to say like style or the way you live your life and those type of things. If you talk about like outsider criticism, I don't think you care about outside critics. I think what matters to you is people that are doing something, people that are that have value in your life that would, where their opinion matters. I think outside criticism doesn't just affect you to that degree. And to be fair, I don't believe that outside criticism is something you deal with too often. I don't think it's something that you've dealt with in probably a long time, or you've usually been a likable person. So criticism maybe on your side would be, I think someone, if they were going to criticize you, it would be something that you would not see as a legit criticism. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that just has to do with your personality. I think, and don't get me wrong, a little narcissism there, but that's not a bad thing. But it's
Self-love,
not,
but you can call it what you want to call it.
It's not necessarily it's not necessarily a bad thing. The reason I say that is because sometimes you have to be into yourself and into what you got going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's where confidence is bred.
Yeah.
And however you get your confidence, I'm never gonna tell somebody don't do that, because if you have confidence that pretty much everyone's searching for, like, most people don't have confidence, so they search and they look at other people in awe, like, wow, what a character. If I only had his, personality, I'd go far in life. So I think, sometimes it comes from, a jealous point of view or envious point of view, I'd say.
Yeah.
And that's why you can't take criticism too personally. A lot of the times you have to be confident in yourself and what you're doing. If you're doing the right things and you're not purposely stepping on people, people can criticize all you want, because a lot of the times they misunderstand you.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you're just misunderstood.
110%.
That's it.
Exactly.
Read like a book.
That's I'd say more misunderstood. Like with criticism, how would you say I take criticism if you're to say it? Because I know I'm a firecracker.
Yeah, definitely a firecracker. I would say that I think sometimes when you're criticized, you miss what the person is criticizing you for, and you're defending a point that is not necessarily what they're criticizing you on. So they're telling you about a different point, but you are harped on, like, you're so gung-ho on a different point, like you trying to defend yourself, that you're not seeing the whole picture of what the criticism is. And so sometimes, but I think for you, you may not have internalized it at that moment, but maybe when you sit with it for a little while, you can look back at it and maybe look at it and say, maybe I was wrong over here. You know what I mean? But I think at the moment when the criticism's happening to you, you're not really hearing what the criticism is and thinking about, okay, let me try and internalize what this criticism's about. You're more harping on other stuff that doesn't necessarily have to deal with the criticism, but you're basically trying to defend the criticism with other things that are going on around the criticism, but you're not understanding why that criticism is actually happening.
Okay, so that'd be so. How about in outsider's perspective? If someone were to critique me,
I think on the outside
yeah,
perspective,
how
yeah,
do
if
you
we're
think I'd
talking
take
about
something like that?
outsiders criticizing you, I don't think you worry too much on the criticism on the outside. Like when
I
people,
worry too much.
I
you
don't
think?
think you do.
Oh, you don't think I worry about
I
criticism?
don't really see you worried about outside criticism. I don't think. I don't even really hear people criticizing you like that. To be fair,
I think just in my life, I've
Yeah.
never been a highly criticized
Yeah, I
person.
don't-
I don't think
don't-
you say enough. To
That's
be
what I'm
Yeah, I
saying.
don't
That's
think
that's
I don't
exactly
think you say
it.
enough to be
That's
criticized,
exactly
right?
it.
It's
I'm
like-
never around
I've never
enough.
seen anyone that actually
If
like
somebody
really
came to me and
criticize you.
said, "Oh, he said this," I'll be
Yeah.
like, "That's a lie," because like you wouldn't have said a lot
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, it's
like,
just
there's
not enough information to go off.
That's why I say
Yeah.
I don't
be
like,
criticized, to be fair.
outsiders. It wouldn't.
Well, I'm just
affect
talking
me,
if
yeah.
we're talking about like internal
Personal,
criticism.
yeah, personal.
Yeah,
I think
then
that's the thing.
it.
When you're a little bit, when you get personal, because I'm a guy that I do have a tendency to have like passion when I speak. Obviously, I do speak to higher volumes or tone, and then I'll also do hand gestures. I go, I do that. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, like Buddy's like all like jumpy and wiry. Like, why is he all crazy?"
Yeah.
But I think that's just how I am. So some people take my passion as like anger, like, oh. But I think what happens is because I am trying to prove my point, I try to engage with passion. So because I'm passionate about the point that I'm about to try and prove, I'm giving it more. So then people are like, God, like I was just telling you about this, and they're getting all jumpy
that's
and
what I'm
wiry.
telling you.
You're going
That's what-
crazy.
that's
It's
what I'm
like,
talking
dude,
about,
I'm
right?
telling you what you're doing wrong, and it's like, no, I understand what I'm doing wrong. I get that point, but I'm a guy about delivery. You see, like what you said.
Yeah. it
So I'm a
matters.
guy that I get triggered by delivery. And if it's not delivered how I like it, it's like you said, you might get upset or feel slighted by somebody if they tell you the truth, but it's not really in the right environment or the right timing. You
I
see
think
what I'm
timing
saying?
makes a huge difference. Like I keep saying this to
This is
people.
what I'm
it's just like,
saying.
you just can't go in on somebody out of nowhere. Like I think you need to like base them. You know, like when you used to ask your parents, "Can I go out?" You do all this
Yeah,
nice
you
stuff
have to warm them
beforehand.
up a little
You
bit.
do the dishes.
Yes.
You do all this stuff. Then you'd ask, "Can I go hang out with my friends?" So I feel like it's the same thing with giving criticism.
And-
you know.
And it's like at your work, right? They say like the way to criticize someone, you go first, tell them what they did doing right, right? You tell them what they're doing right first.
And then
Then you say, yo, but this part, if you only just put in this much more effort,
yeah,
this could be here.
right.
But see, if you don't deliver that, if you don't have that tact, then you say something to somebody and they feel like they're doing something, they're gonna be pissed off. So I think
Yeah.
that's what happens, even when it comes to accountability sometimes. And you're telling someone, oh, like your life is upside down. It's because you're not doing this and you're not doing that. But in their head, they're working on themselves.
For sure.
They're already doing the little stuff, not to your extent, but they're doing little, trying to switch their life up. But you're there telling them that, yo, your life's like this because of X, Y, and Z, and you need to start pushing this more. And then
Yeah.
they're gonna feel really offended because they're like, you don't even know what I'm up to. I'm
Yeah.
trying. So I think what happens is delivery becomes a huge issue. And don't get me wrong, like I hate to be delicate with people neither. Like I'm not a delicate guy at all. So I don't love to be delicate, but you have to learn to be delicate
it's
with
an
certain
art to-
people.
I think it's just an
Yes.
art to communication, an art to criticism.
Absolutely.
So-
I think some people can take the rough and tough and they can absorb that. Like my brother can take the rough and tough. He can take that. He doesn't take it personally like that. He doesn't not personal. He doesn't take it, internalize it, and start getting upset. He's like that. He's okay. But with me, if you're rough and tough, sometimes I will bark
Match
back
that energy.
or match
too.
the energy, right? So I think it's just a personality thing when
For
it comes
sure.
to communication. We all have to learn how to communicate.
Yes, I would say the same thing. I think in terms of we got to kind of understand people's communication styles to a certain degree. Obviously, we're never going to be perfect in terms of, getting the timing exactly
Absolutely.
correct, right? But if we can make the effort in trying to get the timings correctly, there'll be better communications happening.
That's it.
And I think that's all we have for today. And this is Far From Normal Podcast with your boy Sunny Frames
And your boy Fuzzy Vision with the
and
special
Lovely.
guest.
Lavinia.
And we are out.
Deuces.